Welcome, everybody, to Catfish Weekly, presented by B&M Poles, along with the Dr. Tim Lang. I'm Lyle Stokes, and Cindy is here to spin the Big Rat prize wheel. Doc, it's a rainy night in Buffalo, Missouri.
It's getting ready to do that here in Springfield, Ohio, probably within a half an hour or so.
It is flash flood warnings till Thursday here, so I'm really excited about all that action. Can't hardly wait. Bait's tough to get. We can't even go out and buy a bluegill, so I know the shad is not going to be any better, but you and I talked about that before. It's been pretty tough around here. And it was tough for you over the weekend, but I know with Janet and Bink in the boat, you guys had a blast.
Yeah, it's just me and Bink. Janet decided to go get the twins or their granddaughters. So it's just me and Bink. We didn't catch a fish. Had great bait. And never even got a bump. Just real. I mean, we hunted all over that river. We had a good game plan. Well, we thought we had a good game plan, but it just didn't work out. Mark Blauvelt and Randy Howard, they ended up winning the event. It was a big go big or go home. So one fish, and it was a 23-pound blue is what ended up winning it. That's pretty poor for the Ohio River.
Yeah, it is, but they have some issues out there. But that's not a very big fish. But was the fishing tough for everybody?
Yeah. It was tough for everybody.
I'm a little surprised with the water temperatures the way they've been. We're near 60 degrees here, and I know out east I've seen Dieter talk about the water temperatures out there, and they've been in the 60s for a week or two, and he's been catching some fish. So hopefully we'll get through these storms and get rid of some of this weather that we're having, and cold fronts moving through every other day, and maybe the fish will start biting and the bait will move up where you can at least reach it with a 30-foot rope on your throw net.
Yeah, I mean, cold fronts move in every weekend. At least they move in every weekend to I fish a tournament. At least that's what it seems like.
Chuck used to talk about that all the time. Didn't matter where he went. If he was in a tournament, there'd be a cold front move through on Friday before the tournament. I used to laugh at him, but I got to paying attention. He was right most of the time. And the fish usually don't go too far, but they're never in the same place. They get deeper. Or they've moved down the river a little ways or something. But, man, it's bad. And Cindy got a hold of me yesterday, speaking of the waters, and she had seen a picture of Davenport, Iowa, and it was just absolutely a mess. The rivers now are getting not only the rain that we're getting all the time, we got snow melt from up north that's starting to come down, and it looks like river fishing for a while is going to be pretty tough around here.
Oh, man.
So looks like the Lake of the Ozarks are looking pretty good to me. Sonny says he hit Milford with him. I'd like to, but I have plans for this weekend, Sonny. But you and I've already talked, and we got something working in the works, so maybe we can make that work out. Doc, what do you say we get Mr. Manning in here and talk about catching some big old catfish?
Yes, we can.
Welcome to Catfish Weekly, Jeff. How you doing?
I'm doing well, sir. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, man, it's our pleasure. We just I watch your videos, and I hear Dieter talk about you and James Smith and some of them guys out there. And I got to tell you, Jeff, I really enjoy your fishing videos. I really do. They're well done. Some of them have been up a few years that I didn't see, so they're all new to me. And then you've got some more recent ones. But your how-to videos are extremely well done. And you and I talked the other night about your profession, and that kind of explained a little of it to me, because it takes a guy that knows what he's doing to be able to build that stuff the way you do and have it come out like you do.
Hey, I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm a carpenter by trade. I've been doing that literally since I was 5 years old, raised on a construction site. But, yeah, I do it as a hobby for the most part now. I like building stuff for boats and building boats.
Well, one that sticks out in my mind really well was you made a live well or a bait tank or something here a while back, and the way you cut them notches out for one piece to set in the other piece, and then put them together was extreme. You know, I have a table saw. I've had it for Cindy got it for me, 20 years ago or more. It probably hadn't cut 4 boards. You know, it's smarter than I am. I don't know how to use it, and I lost the fence for it, so I really don't have a desire to mess with it. But to be able to cut them out and that stuff fit together like that, it's kind of like putting a jigsaw puzzle together. I was really impressed with the way you done that.
I appreciate that. I appreciate it. I try to make my videos. I mean, I have a lot of tools, and I have about every. My wife says I have an addiction to tools. I believe because if I need it instead of renting it, I'm gonna go buy it, and then I'll end up losing it, and then I'll end up buying another one. So I got toolboxes everywhere. But most time when I do a project or do a how-to video, I try to do it with as basic a tools as I can, and I get upset because my videos wind up being 13, 14, 15 minutes long. And I'm like, well, I'm going to edit this part out. And then my wife goes, hey, you know, not everybody knows how to do that. Leave that in there. And it's fun. I do enjoy it. I do enjoy it a lot.
I'm sure. Like I say, I've really enjoyed watching some of those here recently. The one you done on the airbox was extremely well done also. And Doc, have you seen any of Jeff's videos?
No, I haven't.
Well, you need to go check them out because there's some really you guys have a lot in common, the way you do stuff and the way he does stuff, because in the days that you was telling about all that stuff, everything was the same way. It was just done so perfect that you didn't have to worry about, well, will this work or not work? Because if Doc done it, you knew it was going to work. And that's kind of the way Jeff is with his stuff. It's extremely well done and it makes it really good. You guys in chat, if you have any questions for Jeff, start putting them in there so we can get them answered. If you have any, we want to make sure we get as many of them answered tonight while he's on here as we can.
From Dale's Tacos and
Welcome, Dale. How are you doing? I see. I've been watching some video, guys, and I see a couple of these boys are in here. Just the Tip Fishing and Wampus Cat Outdoors. I've watched a couple of their videos here lately, and I enjoyed all of those. So you guys keep up the good work. It's really cool for all of us to be able to watch those videos. There's PD Fishing, and keep doing them. I've watched so many of them now. They're all reruns to me, so I love it when you guys come out with new stuff. Jeff, you and I talked a little bit earlier about you and I have a relationship with the state of Missouri, and I was a little impressed with the fact that you knew about the Mississippi River. And so many people out in your neck of the woods, they think it's just any old river, and it's really not. And you had quite an intake on some of that stuff.
Yeah, it always cracks me up around here when people talk about current. We've got current, and I'm like, yeah, we've got current here. But yeah, it's amazing. And like I said, the guys that do go fish some of these tournaments up in the Mississippi River, it's amazing when they come back and they're humbled when they go, wow, yeah, you weren't lying about the 20-foot wide whirlpools and the 6-foot waves coming up, because they really think that I'm just pulling their leg. Hey, you'll see Bard just pushing 30 skids and it'll have a 6-foot wave coming off the back. And they're like, yeah, okay. Yeah, right.
Doc and I sat there on the Mississippi River Monsters, and what was they, 6 or 7 wide coming up through there, and they 40
and 8 deep.
Yeah.
and it's about best when you see them. They got 3 tugs pushing them and 2 or 3 more on the sides of them to keep them from going left and right. You know, that throws a little bit of a wave behind it.
One of the things that gets me is a lot of times in heavy current, they can't line up for those dams to lock through, and they'll have 1 or 2 off on the side pushing them in to line them up so they can shoot up that chute to get in the dam. And I tell people about that, and they think, no, there's no way you got that much current. Well, yeah, we do.
Yeah, especially when you see them going upstream. That's a sight to behold when you see 6-foot waves go for a quarter mile behind the boat, and it just looks like a dragon's back sticking out of the water. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, it really is. New cannonball. Oh, Dale got some new cannonball bowls. Awesome, man. I like them cannonballs. They work really well for back bottom bounces. Mark Colbert says Jeff makes a great fold-down rod storage holder for rods to travel across the water. It's simple and the best design he's ever seen.
Man, that's high praise coming from him.
I don't know, Mark, but I need to.
They want to know, where do you purchase the sheets of PVC?
That's probably the most asked questions on a lot of my builds. The material is made by Certainteed. So when I actually Googled it tonight to see, because I get it from a local, actual, not a big box store, and a local lumber supply company, because that's what I do for a living. I build custom homes on Lake Wiley. So I use this stuff for everything on these $1 million homes, from columns to decorative trim, you name it, we use it. But it's made by Certainteed. You can go to their website, and there should be a store locator where you can buy it. But it's actually they make it in a 3/8, ½ inch, 5/8, 3/4, up to a 5/4 full 1 inch thick PVC sheets. And believe it or not, you can get them up to 20 foot long. But it's a great material. I like it because you can use basic tools, basic skill saw, sanders, drills. You can nail it. You can screw it. You can glue it together like I did in the video. I used epoxy to put it together. I mean, it's just a great material. And for people for boats, you can't ask for a better material. You can build anything out of it.
It looks like some really cool stuff. And I'm one of the guys that contacted you about that because I'd never seen it in any of the stores around here. Still haven't. But then again, I haven't been to the store. So, but, I'll be making a trip to Lowe's or Home Depot or something one of these days and find out. But when I looked online, the biggest stuff that whichever store it was that I did find it at, they only handled up to 5/8. And for some of the projects you was making, I would think the 3/4 or bigger would be a little better.
3/4 are my go-to for the most part, because I can build my old pontoon boat. I built a tank on it that held 200 gallons. And I mean, it was literally 8 foot long, 2 foot wide, 2 foot tall. And I mean, I used to haul it on my pontoon boat for tournaments or just for fishing for fun, bait tanks. But I never had an issue with it. I had it for probably 10, 12 years. Never had the slightest issue, but I used 3/4.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Dieter Melhorn is in the house. I know he's a neighbor of yours.
Yeah, he's close. I'll bring your tractor back soon, Dieter.
He said, ask Jeff what his favorite tractor is.
It's a green John Deere with a bucket, man. It's awesome. I'll get those tires fixed before I bring it back. Only 2 of them are flat.
Are you going to have to vulcanize the side in that one?
I'm telling you, yeah, it's got a cut about 6 inches long. But I mean, heck, I'm sure it's easy and cheap fix.
I don't think there's anything cheap to fix on a tractor tire anymore. I understand they become quite expensive.
That's okay. It ain't my tractor.
Yes.
They want to know. Dwayne Buckridge wants to know, would that 3/4 PVC sheet be any good for pontoon decking?
I have used it for decking one time, and the only issue I have with it is it won't rot, but it is, if you drop something really heavy on it like an anchor, you could possibly crack it or break it. So I mean, if I'm doing a pontoon boat, and I've redone several of them, I always go back with aluminum. I always use this 1/8 inch thick aluminum, and you're done with it. And it's a lot lighter. At 3/4 plywood, it's heavy, but I mean, it's not as heavy as actual wood, but it's heavy.
That was my question, is how heavy was it? Because 3/4 anything seems to be pretty heavy anymore.
Yeah, it's not like starboard. Starboard is ridiculous heavy if you get a big sheet of it. This stuff here, a 4x8 sheet, is probably 70 pounds, somewhere in that area.
Okay. David?
Hey, Lyle.
Yeah, I see David's.
Time to spin the wheel.
You know what? Thanks to Glenn, I'm all loaded up and ready to go. Jeff, pick me out a number between 1 and 5.
4.
1, 2, 3, 4. And the winner is Ken McCarty, McCarty. Doc, I told you about the storms and stuff we're having.
Yeah.
It is almost deathly quiet around here. That scares me just a touch.
Yes, it is.
Wind's not blowing or nothing. I ain't even leaves moving on the trees. Offshore tackle. Ken, if you will message us after the show and send me your address, I will ship you out some of the great products from Offshore Tackle. You're going to love them. They're a great company, been with us for some time. Doc and I both use their products. You're going to love what we send you. And thank Offshore Tackle for being a sponsor to Catfish Weekly.
Yes, indeed.
All right. I seen a question here a while ago, and it got past me.
What was the context of it?
I don't remember. I can't
Someone
remember.
wants to know if you could put a live well on a bass boat.
Jeff, you just do live wells that are so like square. You don't make them custom to fit like a bass boat or anything, do you?
I have. I've got a friend of mine. He actually took out the two smaller hatches in the back, and he put an aluminum one in there straight across. So all he had to do was take out the bridge between the two of them, and he just made it one continuous box. It works, but bass boats are so shallow. You know, there's not a whole lot of depth there, and there's a lot of fill in them. So it's a lot more difficult on a bass boat. That's the reason why I have a deep V aluminum boat. My boat is a 1974. I mean, it's an oldie but a goodie. Easy.
Yeah, I can't go back to John boats after having a V front end boat. You just can't do it. It's not that I couldn't, I just choose not to, I guess.
It's nice having that ledge that you can lean against when you're fighting a fish or pulling anchors, or when a barge goes by, you ain't got to worry about a 3-foot wave. Bad.
They are tougher to get fish in and out of. Like Doc's boat is down closer to the water, and it's very easy to get fish in and out of the boat with. But I don't have to worry about stumbling and falling out of this one because it hits me about waist high. But I really like the way they ride and drive and stuff. So I've had them my whole life, and I'm ready for the easy peasy stuff now. Gosh, I seen something else I was going to ask you. Somebody put on here. Now I can't find it either.
They want to know what his YouTube channel is.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
My YouTube channel is Team Reelin' the Blues. It's REELIN the Blues. And usually you can search it at that or Jeff Manning Team Reelin' the Blues.
Okay.
But I started that channel a long time ago. It's an old channel.
It'll come up either way. I've tried it both ways. Somebody wants to know what your biggest flathead is, Jeff.
My biggest flathead that I've had on my boat was just under 56 pounds on Lake Wiley.
That's a great
And when I was a youth on the Mississippi River, like I say, we done it all back in the day. And me and some cousins, we caught one that was in the mid 50s. But you know, when you're a kid, my memory, that thing was 300 pounds and 7 feet long. You know, but yeah, it was in the mid 50s too.
I love the Mississippi River, and it was amazing when you told me that your grandmother lived in New Madrid, Missouri. I thought, holy crap, man, that's just across the state from me, and one of my favorite places to fish.
What's funny is I've got probably a dozen cousins who still live there in Kewanee. If you know anything about New Madrid, you got Kewanee and Sykeston. They all live in that little small area there. It's great.
Yeah, that's really cool because that's a great fishing area, and the fishing is really good there in Caruthersville and all those little towns around there. And they all know what that river's about because every one of them has a boat ramp in it, and they're all kept up in very good shape. So
yeah, and people would be amazed if they see the boat ramps we got there compared to here. They think, oh, this boat ramp's steep. I'm like, you ain't seen nothing until you try to back down a levee. It's on a 40-degree angle and runs for 100 yards into the Mississippi.
That's exactly right. They're a long way, some of them, but they're not any steeper than that one at Memphis, though, I don't believe. That and there's pretty steep, too.
All of them, that Memphis.
Yeah, it is. But, yeah, you're right, dude. You go over top of them levees, and you got to start backing from there and back all the way down. It's quite a deal, but, you know, it is what it is. Mickey Holland says, try some cinnamon cereal crunch. Next time you go to Walmart, you can save Cindy some time and work. No,
that was for you.
I appreciate that, Mickey, but I want the cinnamon rolls, not the cinnamon crunch. Them cinnamon rolls are so soft, and when they come out of the oven, they're so awesome. It's just amazing. Making me hungry now.
I'm getting hungry.
Stephen Hare just subscribed to Jeff's channel. Thank you, Stephen. I know Jeff will appreciate that, and you will find some quality information out of there.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Do you have many floods in your area? Like the seasonal floods like we do around New Madrid?
I am away from the rivers. I am closer to the lakes, and they're pretty much managed. And I do remember several years ago, Truman Lake was like 30 some feet above normal pool, which was just unbelievable. But they had to hold water back that year to keep the from filling Lake Ozark up, because that all dumps into the Mississippi or the Missouri River, and it was all flooded out a few years ago, and it was just unbelievably high. But for the most part, about the only flooding that we get around here is my backyard.
Because we grew up like around where my uncles and cousins and all of them live. We would literally be plowing a field, one month, and the next month we'd be out there fishing in the same field, and it would be 16, 17 foot deep, but it was normal. All the houses were on stilts just inside the levee areas. So yeah, it's a different world.
It really is. And one of the things that I really do like, I always thought I'd love to have one of them houses on them stilts, because you'd be right there at the river. But I see those guys fixing and repairing them every year, and I'm thinking, maybe not.
Yeah, and especially when you tie your john boat up to your front porch, and where you normally have 10 steps, and now you got a john boat tied. There's a reason they put them on stilts.
That's exactly right. And but they do look, there's very interesting. And man, I'll tell you, Jeff, if you haven't been on the Mississippi or the Missouri for a long time, some of those houses that are now on those are absolutely unbelievable. They don't seem to mind to have to redo it once in a while, because they got some absolutely gorgeous places on there anymore. Dieter Melhorn says you need to do a cast net video.
Cast net video. Yeah, he's been after me to do that. He's been telling me, hey, when you go to catch bait, let me know. I'll go with you and I'm gonna do a video. But it seems like he don't want everyone to leave his house whenever I'm going out to catch bait. It's usually like 20 degrees and dark, and yeah, he ain't gonna come out for that.
Hey, and I apologize. I am subscribed to his channel. I just didn't realize who it was.
I see.
So I have seen his video.
Junior Proctor would like to know if you prefer anchoring over dragging.
The side of my boat has Anchorman wrote on it for a reason. Yeah, I love to anchor, and it ain't that I don't like drifting. Drifting's fun, but for me, there's just I like to. I like to just go into that sniper mode. I love to ride around, find a fish, and just say, okay, there's the fish I want, and try to catch him. I mean, I do enjoy drifting when I'm going to catch numbers. Like if I got somebody that doesn't get to fish a lot, I'll take them drifting. But sometimes somebody wants to go fish with me. I'll say, okay, do you want to catch one fish or do you want to catch 15 fish? And if they say one fish, then I'm definitely going on anchor. I'm going to try to get them that one personal best.
Now, that's precision anchoring.
Yeah, and it's a lost art. A lot of people drift, and I think crappie fishermen make great catfish anchor fishermen, I believe, because I used to crappie fish all the time, and you've got to be able to look at that 2D sonar and go, okay, that's a brush pile, and it's, that's back before you could do your little waypoint on it and find it. Back in the day, we would find a brush pile. We would be able to strategically find that brush pile, catch our crappie off of it, be able to stay in that spot and catch our fish. And I think catfishing, it kind of helps me because the fact that I see the sonar and I can figure out exactly where that ledge is. And I think that's the most important part for anchoring is you've got to be exactly where you want to be to have confidence. I mean, sure, you can set up anywhere and catch fish, but I like to know where my baits are. They're exactly at the bottom of this ledge. They're exactly on the top of this point.
I agree.
They want to know what the metals are in the background.
Oh, that's from my other habit I used to have years ago. I used to bowl, and that's why on my old screen name back on Catfish 1 years ago, my screen name is Bowler Man, and there's still a lot of people that know me as Bowler Man.
Oh, okay.
But actually, those are all those are like medals and plaques I won when I used to bowl a lot. I mean, I bowled for probably 25 years. My daughters grew up in a bowling alley bowling, so yeah, most of these are my daughter's medals that we won bowling in like state championships and stuff.
Wow.
I remember the handle bowler man.
I do too. Man, that was a long time ago.
That
Yeah.
was forever ago. That was a bunch of lifetimes ago. It seems like.
It does. I've told this before, Jeff. You talk about the BOC. The first time I was joined to become a member of the BOC, it had 638, I believe, members.
Wow. Yeah, I was under 1,000 when I joined it.
Yeah, and then the next thing you know, it had about 3,000 or 4,000. I'd been removed from it, and when they put me back on it, it had like 10,000, and about 11,000 I was removed from again. After about the fourth time, I just quit dicking with him. It was just crazy.
Yeah, I had a falling out with him too.
Yeah, I was kicked off there more times than anybody I know of. It's just nuts. Fishing stuff. Justin's fishing fetish. David Funk, Mickey Holland, Kentucky Catman Adventures. We got a bunch of them in here tonight, Doc.
Yeah, there's.
Stephen Hare wants to know how many 300 games you bowled.
I've had about 50.
Wow.
Wow. 50. Years ago, I used to do a little bowling, and I stress little bowling. And the hand towels that you buy at the counter?
Oh, yeah.
Every time I would bowl a 200 game, I would buy myself a towel. They was 50 cents or $1 or something like that.
You had one towel?
I had one or two of those. That was that was it. So
that's cold. That's cold there.
Games. Wow, 50 of them. That's amazing.
Yeah, I used to bowl a lot. I guess when I bowled the most, I probably bowled between 40 and 50 games a week minimum. And back in that day, I'm nowhere near that now. I rarely even walk in a bowling center, but I think the best average I ever had for a year, I had like 390 games, and I averaged 228 for 390 games.
Wow. That's knocking her out. Pretty good. Patriot James has made it.
You talk about bowling. I watched the PBA this weekend, and they were using two hands instead of one.
It's the newest thing, and it is.
Yeah,
those guys dominate.
Yeah, I never seen anything like that. It looked it looked weird.
You ought to see it in person. It is amazing. I mean, I can't imagine the coordination it takes to release a ball. And they've got a guy, Belmonte. You probably seen him on that thing there. And literally, he's a phenomenon. I mean, he throws the ball 20-something mile an hour, and it's got 400 RPMs on the ball when he releases it. It's just insane.
Wow. James Dockery says his would be 79. Oh, man. What was that big blue in that video you caught here sometime back, Jeff? How big?
The one where I got Jesus at the end of it, that was 82 pounds.
82.
That was an 82 pound. That was a surprise fish. I actually just went out to test out a motor that I just got done working on, and decided I wanted to set up, fish the spot I really rarely ever fish, throw the lines out, and I had all big baits, huge baits. And I looked down, I go, I hate a skunk on the boat, Yeah. So I said, I put out this one little tiny piece of bait to keep the skunk off the boat, launched it out, set it in the holder, went to sit down, and the rod was already folded over, and it was that 82 pounder. So I threw it out, caught the fish, loaded my stuff, and left. I said, okay, I'm done. It's not going to get any better than this. Let's go home.
Dieter says between your bowling and your fishing, you will probably have 100,000 subs by 2020.
I hope he's right. I just now got back into the YouTube thing, and that's thanks to Patriot James. I'd pretty much just put a video on here and there. Like I say, when I started it, it was solely for the purpose of my mother. I wanted her videos of her fishing. She loved it more than she'd love to eat. She was in her 70s, and she'd keep me on the water for no exaggeration, hand to the sky. She would keep me on the water 24/7 for 2 weeks straight if she could in her 70s. I mean, she absolutely loved it. One of my favorite stories, and we were fishing. We started catching a few fish. She went to go take a catfish off. It fell, hit her in the top of the shoe, went through her foot, the spine. So I'm sitting there and she pulled it out immediately, and she's sitting there, and I sit down and I look at her, and I mean, tears are rolling down her face. And I said, Mama, we're going to head back. I'll get you. And she goes, I said, I know it hurts. She said, it does. She said, but they just started biting good. She was more upset that we was leaving because the fish were biting than she was she just got stabbed in the foot.
That sounds like something Cindy'd do, but she would want to go get her foot taken care of too, though. Man. Cindy, pick me out a number between 1 and 5. We're going to give away some more stuff.
1.
1 it is. I like that one. Crystal Scott. B&M. Crystal, if you will contact us after the show and send me your shipping address, I have something for you from B&M, and I know you're going to like it. We're very happy to have B&M as the title sponsor of our show for nearly a year. And thank you so much for watching Catfish Weekly and playing the Rig Wrap Prize Wheel game. Thanks, B&M, for being a sponsor for us. Anything else in chat, Doc?
No, nothing there. I'm not seeing anything right now.
Nothing.
Congrats going out to everybody. Thanks for the thumbs up, guys.
Absolutely. We appreciate that so much. The thumbs up. If you get a chance, share this with your friends so they can watch it and register and get signed up to win some of the prizes also. We'd appreciate that. So you got any new projects you're going to be doing, Jeff, as far as video work?
I've got a couple. I'm about halfway through, and I've got one that I'm going to start as soon as everything calms down around here. I just had a new grandbaby 6 days ago. We got our new grandbaby, so it's been a little crazy around here. But I've got an older 1960s model Deep V that I'm getting ready to convert into a jet boat.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I've got my big Deep V I built, and I've always wanted a jet boat for running these rivers around here. And all our rivers are dammed for the most part, so they're really rocky, really shallow. So I'm planning on building a jet boat on video. I've got another video I made that's about half done of how to make your own sinker molds and stuff like that. It's just little, people send me stuff, say, hey, how do you do this right here? Because I know I got my own sinker molds I use for my stuff. And it ain't that I can buy it, but for me, it's like I say, it's a hobby. I just want to see if I can make it myself. And it's the same way with the rod rack that Mark was talking about that I made from a boat. I just hate those PVC pipes. So I come up with my own design for a rod rack. And you can see it in most of my videos. You can see it in the background.
Cool. Somebody had said something about your blue was a Wiley record. Yeah, the Wiley Lake record.
Yeah, the 82 pounder is the biggest one that I've heard rumors of bigger, but like I say, it's one of those deals where they never have a picture of it. But Dieter, I'm gonna give Dieter a plug here. Dieter has actually got out of his warm bed at 2:30 in the morning and drove to Lake Wiley and met me at a boat ramp to take pictures of fish before.
Oh, wow.
And the day that I caught the 82 pounder, I don't know what he was doing, but I think mostly, I don't think it's just because of the fact he wants to take pictures of it. I think he thinks I'm lying, so he wants to come and disprove it. He won't admit that, but it's one of those deals where I said, no, I'm just going to turn it loose. No, I'm on my way. I'll take pictures of it for you. I'm like, no, I'm only going to try. No, I'm on my way. But no, he's a great guy. He took a picture of one for me years ago that we never really got an accurate weight on, but it was a monster too. I mean, it was crazy. But like I say, 2:30, it was about 3:00 in the morning. He shows up with all of his fancy cameras. We take a bunch of pictures, and he sent me on my way.
Dieter says that you weighed your grandchild with a pair of boga grips.
He's probably right. It was under 30 pounds. So yes, I used a boga grip on it. I'm not used to anything over that.
I'm thinking that daughter of yours probably wouldn't have went for that much. What kind of rods and equipment do you have, Jeff?
Right now, I got mostly Big Cat Fever rods, the medium heavy. Like I say, in my local area, we don't really have the current necessary for the bigger, the heavy duty. But I have the medium heavy. But when people ask me about rods, the first thing I tell them is, hey, it's personal preference to everybody. What feels good to you? I got 15 or 16 of the medium heavy big cat fever. But my 82-pound blue, it came on a white ugly stick, 7-foot ugly stick. Now, so, just whatever you want really. But I mean, I love my big cat fevers. I can't stress that enough. I love them for about every type of fishing because I use big baits, big weights, and with these things, you can really heave it out there. An Andy fishing line. That's my favorite fishing line that I use is the Monster Andy.
Another mono guy.
Oh, Doc. I thought you was going to let that pass.
No, never. So I've got a combination of mono braid. Just depends on what I'm doing.
Well, I love the Andy Monster. I've used about all the Andy's versions of line, but the Andy Monster seems to be really good for like planer boards and for like pulling tree. I've got a fish tangled up in a tree, and I wish I'd had it on video. It was about a 30-pound flathead during a tournament, and me and my son-in-law are literally above this thing trying to get this fish out of it. So I just finally, after about 10 minutes of screwing with it, I throwed my 35-pound hook anchor in the tree, pulled the entire tree to the surface, and the fish was literally wrapped around this cedar tree probably 10 times, and it never sheared the line. We just reached down and dipped the flathead right out of the tree. So it's some good tough line.
I've heard good things about it over the years, and that's one of the few lines I've never tried, but I understand it knots really well also.
It knots really well, and it's really limp, and that's what I like about it. I mean, you don't get a lot of the curlicue out of it.
Yeah, that's worth a lot if you're dealing with mono. Maurice Caston would like to know, do you think releasing all the trophy fish can hurt a lake?
I'm kind of on the fence about that. I mean, I don't think so much that it'll hurt the lake, but I do think there's a point where you'll see these lakes where they have all these monster fish caught, and it's kind of funny how you'll see it's generational. You'll see all of a sudden you'll see all these monster fish. It's like Lake Wiley. We never seen any big flatheads, none. And then all of a sudden we see a couple small teeners, and then the very next year we're catching 40-pounders left and right. And now, I mean, honestly, I can only think of about 3, maybe 4 50-pound flatheads that's come out of Lake Wiley, but I guarantee the number of 40 to 45-pounders is in the thousands. I mean, last year I probably caught 50, 60 from the 35 to 45-pound range and never caught a single one anywhere near bumping 50. So wow. I think it's a double-edged sword. I think you get a lot of those monster, let's just say the top of the chain. I think it can hurt the lake for number of monsters, but of course the big ones are going to get bigger. No competition.
I agree. I deal with the Missouri Department of Conservation quite a lot, and they've done a lot of studies, and one of the old wives' tale is that when fish get so old they stop producing, and that's falsehood. They produce up to the last year they're alive. They never stop. It's kind of like cattle. As long as you keep breeding them, they'll keep having calves. There comes a point, though, in my mind, that is it good for them? I know with cattle and horses and anything else, they get to be a certain age and they don't produce the quality they once did, or it's harder on them to do that. I don't know if that pertains to fish or not, but the studies that I've read, they've had 30-year-old fish still producing eggs and hundreds of thousands of them at a time. But all of those 30-year-old fish don't get to be 80 pounds either. Some of them only grow to be 30 or 40 pounds, and that's as big as they'll ever be.
Yeah, they get genetically compromised. I mean, we've seen it. We tag fish, and we had one fish, and I mean, this fish survives, which it's habit. It probably won't, but if this fish survives, it's been tagged 3 times. Well, it's been caught 3 times. First time it was 18 pounds. A year later, or 2 years later, it was 30-something pounds. So it almost doubled its weight in 2 years. It got caught again. It was at 48 pounds in 1 year. So, I mean, this is one of those fish that is the anomaly. It's growing at a phenomenal rate. It must just sit around and eat all the time, Right. But what's funny is it's always caught in the same 2 to 3 week period, and it's always caught in the same stretch of the river. So you see this fish getting caught in the same spot, but it's just funny. I mean, we've tagged tons of fish. Dieter's tagged way more than I have. But one good tagging story, just to show you how they're not as dumb as people think. I caught it. Lake Wiley's 24 miles long. I caught it at the upper end of the lake. It was 34, 35 pounds. We brought it to the lower end of the lake, 20-something miles by water, to tag it. We turned it loose. 4 months later, Dieter caught the exact same fish within yards of where I caught it originally. So that fish had traveled 21 miles back upstream to the exact same boat or the exact same bridge piling that I'd caught it on. So, I mean, it's kind of amazing, the thing.
It is. And, you know, I believe that fish travel great distances in short periods of time. We fished tournaments on the Mississippi River between dams, and one night you'll be pre-fishing. You'll have a whole bunch of them below one dam. The next morning they're not there, and the next time you find that number of fish, it'll be above the dam on the lower side. And in my mind, it only takes them a few hours to go down river, and they can take the next day if they want to go back up there and swim 8 or 9, 10, 12 miles. You know, they swim a lot faster than people give them credit for.
Yeah, and look at the striper. They'll travel 30 miles in a 24-hour period.
Exactly. And catfish are no different. So when they get, I think they go up like to the bottom of one dam and feed for a period of time, and then they go to the front of the other dam below it and rest. And then when they want feed, they'll go back up to the bottom side, because all the stuff that's coming through them dams is what they're eating. And they just go down to the top side of the one below it and rest. Now, that's strictly my opinion. I've thought that for a long time. I have no way of proving it, because in Missouri, you're not allowed to tag fish. It's against the law. I know there's some guys that are doing it, and I wouldn't want to be them if they get caught, because Missouri frowns on that severely.
Really? I mean, because we've actually, Dieter, he keeps really good logbooks of what he catches, the number he catches, and everything like that. And he's got the numbers that I've got, and we combine them, and he puts it in flow sheets, and he gives it to the biologists, and they love it, because, you know, it's just free data for them.
Well, I've even asked to go out with them when they tag fish, and they won't let me do that. And I've worked with them quite a bit, actually. And I was surprised when they told me no.
That's wild. That's wild.
Yeah, Cliff, you're right.
That is Keokuk.
That is Keokuk area. Gone here one day, gone the next, and that's the way they are. And my favorite thing to do when I'm up in your area, Cliff, as you well know, is to find out the transition pattern where they're going back and forth and try to hit them off on one way to the other, going from one dam to the next, because that's it's worked for me a couple of times in the past, and I liked it.
What do they use to tag the fish with?
Can you tell Cindy? She's wanting to know what kind of deal they use for. Oh, somebody asking her what you guys tag them with, and kind of go through that and explain how that's done.
The tags we use, we get them from a company. It's fishtagger.com. And what it is, it's just it looks like almost like a stirring straw that you use for coffee. Just it's real tiny. It's about the size of the filament in a number 2 pencil. And it's got an ID number on the actual tag. So what you can do is you just tag it. I go right behind the fin on the back, try to stay just in the skin, not get too much into the muscle. And it has an ID number. We'll write the number down. You go straight to their website, and you can log that number, and you put your email address with it, when you caught it. You don't have to put specifically where you caught it. Like I use codes of where I catch it, because what happened if somebody does catch that fish again, you'll get an email. If somebody ever pings that number, you'll get an email that says, here's how much this fish weighs now. And most of the time the people have put, hey, this is where I caught it. The oldest one I've had one from 3 years, but that's the oldest tag fish I've ever caught that was recaught. I think, and Dieter, and we've talked about this, I think the tag finally gets that calcium built up around it. And I think they actually eject it after a while, because usually we don't see anything over about 3 years. But it's good data. I mean, it's great to have.
It really is, and I wish that Missouri would rethink their thinking on that. One of the coolest stories that ever come out of the Department of Conservation was told to me several years ago now, and I've passed this on a number of times on the show. But there was a fish tagged up between Chillicothe and Kansas City on the Missouri River. And 3 years later, it was caught below Memphis on the Mississippi River. And my question always was, how many times did it make that trip? Once, twice, 3 times? There's no telling And that's one of the things that I think in the future, if they continue with tagging programs and tracking fish, they'll come up with a tracking system like they do on dogs, to where they can just pull it up on a computer and say, okay, we tag this fish and he's right here right now. Within a certain area, it wouldn't be probably head on, but I think that will come if they will use it and develop it.
There's a story somewhere, I read it, that a graduate student done that, and I think it may have been Texas, but they actually put transponders on some fish, the bigger fish, the 60, 70-pound fish, and they had beacons set up in the rivers. And what they would do is, if that fish ever passed by that beacon, it would ping them and let them know, hey, this fish has moved. Not exactly where that fish was at, but it would ping them, and then they would know, okay, it made its spawn run. And they was doing that. I mean, it's a great article to read. I'll see if I can find it. If I can find it, I'll send the link to you.
Oh, I would love to read that. I do a lot of research on stuff. Doc,
They're doing that on the Ohio.
Oh, they are doing it now?
Yeah.
That's way cool.
Yeah,
Doc,
they put the
Greg is in the chat. Welcome.
Yeah, I seen him. Hey, buddy.
I got something to share with you guys.
Hey, it's time to spin the wheel before you share. We're late again.
I think you'll like this better.
Okay.
Big Cat Fever is done a lot for us over the years, and they give away a lot of stuff. And we haven't heard anything out of Tony and Caleb in a while, but I got a message from Tony, and it says, "Hey, Lyle, when you have time, let's give away a $50 gift card. Hope all are well." Thank you so much, Tony. We appreciate everything you guys do helping us out. Means so much to us. Great company with some good products. So, Doc, if you want to pull that up, we'll give that $50 gift certificate away. Then we'll spin the wheel.
Okay. The winner is Roger DeMint Jr.
Congratulations, Roger. If you'll contact Tony and Caleb with Big Cat Fever and tell them you won the $50 gift certificate on Catfish Weekly, they will fix you right up. Thanks for watching the show. And Tony and Caleb with Big Cat Fever, thank you guys so much. We really appreciate everything you do, not just to help Catfish Weekly out for the entire sport of catfishing. All right. Jeff.
Man, this new Chromebook I got is so fast that it doesn't waste any time. When I hit the thing, boom, it's there.
That's awesome. Hey, Doc, pick me out a number between 1 and 5.
5.
All righty. I knew it was going to be that. I should. 3, 4, 5, and the winner is William Winterstein, whichever the way it is. I try not to butcher them too bad, but sometimes I just can't help myself. Let's see what Cindy can get for William. Whisker Sticks LED lights. William, if you contact Lena, Tim, or any of the good folks over at Whisker Sticks LED lights and tell them you want a prize on Catfish Weekly, they will fix you right up. Whisker Sticks has been with us, Doc, since they began their company a few years ago. We can't thank them enough for everything they do to help us out and for the sport that we love so dearly. And we thank you for watching Catfish Weekly and playing the Rig Rap Prize Book game. All right. You see any more questions, Doc?
Yeah, I had one and I missed it. Hang on a minute. When somebody wins something, everybody starts dropping congrats, and then it goes so quick.
I thought maybe it was because I caught you off guard on the chat giveaway.
No.
That Chromebook is extremely fast.
Yeah, it is. I really like this thing.
Man, I'm glad.
Actually, what I'm going to try to do next week, well, for 2 weeks, I'm going to be on Wheeler Lake, and I'm going to see if I can get this thing to work while I'm out on the boat and try to go live right on the boat.
I'm thinking you'll have a better chance of on Wheeler Lake getting it to go than you will be if you stay at the motel down there in
Rogersville.
Someone said Texoma.
Yeah. Well, I'm not there. I'm staying at Decatur the first week, and then the second week I'm staying at my rental house.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you're gonna have a big time down there. That'd be a blast.
Yeah, but I'm going to try to see if I can do an on the water show right there. Maybe I'll get lucky and catch a big one while we're talking. So,
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be good. Did you find your question for Jeff?
no.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Maurice Cason wants to know where do you think the next world record blue and flathead catfish going to be caught in?
Wow. Man, it's hard to rule out the James River for the blue with the number of quality fish they have, but maybe they've reached that point where they have too many 100-pound fish. I don't know. It's hard to beat Bugs Island right up the road here. They've got them. I mean, they've had 240 pounders come out of that lake and a couple 130s, I think.
Well, that could be. They evidently have some regulations in effect out there. There's no question. I feel like it'll come out of the Mississippi or Missouri River, and if they would put regulations on those rivers like we have on Lake Ozark and Truman, in 10 years, there's no doubt where it would come from.
A lot of water.
Just too much water and too much for them to eat. And I know a lot of these lakes have abundance of shad, but in the rivers, it's not just shad, it's everything. And with the expansion and the no way to stop these Asian carp and the amount of protein that they get from Asian carp, and the studies have already been done, and it's just astronomical, the protein that comes out of them. If they would have regulations on what everybody, not just fishermen, could take out of those rivers, in 10 or 15 years, the number of poundage size fish that would come out of the Mississippi River would it'd blow your mind.
Yeah, somebody just posted been over 100 caught in the last couple of weeks in bugs. Black Shad Cat just posted that.
Oh, they got it going on out there.
Yeah, and North Carolina got on board with the regulations pretty quick. I mean, we just now got the regulations on Lake Wiley changed, and Lake Wiley is a split lake. So we got North Carolina, South Carolina. North Carolina's got regulations on them, but South Carolina don't. So it kind of makes for an interesting situation when you're on the water, because you'll cross state lines a dozen times in a 5-mile stretch driving in a straight line. But it's great. We can only keep, I think it's 1 over 32 inches per person now out of Lake Wiley. So it's great. It's going to produce some monsters, I believe.
Now, are blue cats natural out there, or was they brought into those lakes?
No, it's not natural to Lake Wiley. Like I say, I grew up on Lake Wiley, and 12 years ago, probably 12, 13 years ago, the odds of catching a blue, if you caught one, you were calling all your friends, hey, guess what? I just caught a blue. You know, and everybody's like, what's a blue? I mean, nobody knew about them. And all of a sudden they started showing up in the upper region. We've got about 7 miles of river on Wiley. They started showing up in the river sections. And it's the same way with the flatheads. They just all of a sudden appeared one day. You would catch 20 or 30 channel cats and 1 blue cat. And then it kind of went to 3 or 4 blue cats. And now you'll catch 20 or 30 blue cats. You might catch a channel cat. And the flathead population is starting to do the same thing. It's starting to spread all over the entire lake. So it just sort of happened. You know, we really don't know how. Lake Norman's had them. They was actually introduced to Lake Norman. And maybe they made it through the chain of lakes somehow like that. Because they never stocked them officially, put it that way.
Let's see. David Funk wants to know, do flatheads get bigger in a reservoir than in a river? Personally, I think they get bigger in a reservoir because they don't have to work as hard.
That could very well be.
63.
I think the blues get fatter. I mean, you can look at a river blue versus a reservoir blue, and their body shape is totally different. And it's the same way with the flatheads. We catch flatheads that literally they're as wide as they are long. I mean, they're just huge.
Yep. I agree. And a lot of that, again, has to go back to what they're eating. New school, you do not want Asian carp in any water you fish. I promise you. The first time one of 30 or 40s jump up out of that water and smack you upside the head and nearly knock you out of the boat, you'll be wishing you'd never heard of them or seen them. That's just the way it is. And you cannot keep them out of your boat, and you'll spend the rest of the afternoon cleaning the slime. Once they bleed
and blood and stink.
Oh, they're just animal, but they do make pretty good bait. So it is what it is.
But I'll tell you what, those things can get some air time.
Yeah. But the enclosure that's on top of our tracker, I can easily stand up inside of it and have quite a bit of headroom. And we've had 30-pounders jump over the boat and land on the top of that numerous times. We've also been on the Illinois River running wide open, which in that boat's 34 mile an hour. That's all it'd do. And it would hit the front of the boat and turn you in the water. They've hit it so hard. And that's not 20 or 30-pound fish hitting it that hard. Them are big ones. So it's not uncommon to find 50 and 60-pound Asian carp these days. And there's several that's been come up with that's over 100. So believe me, you don't want them. They're nothing but a nuisance, other than the fact that they do add a lot of protein to the fish, and they're great. The problem is they grow so fast that they can't eat them fast enough, or they reproduce so much. But blues and flatheads both love them. They got to get them when they're small enough they can handle them.
Yeah, because I remember the one on the Mississippi that leaped out from the front of your boat. The big boat that you had, it leaped from the front and hit the gunnel in the rear.
Yep.
And then luckily it bounced on out.
Yeah, they'll break fishing rods and smash tackle boxes and break cameras. If you got it in a boat, they'll mess it up. They're not only hard on you if they hit you, but they're hard on everything else. And like I say, anything they touch, they slime like a slime you've not ever seen before. And anything they touch, they bleed on. And it stinks until you get it washed out. They're just disgusting fish, and their eyes are in the wrong spot. Eyes are supposed to be on top of the fish's head, not underneath them.
And they spawn 3 times a year.
Yeah, at least, maybe more. Yeah, they do. They spawn 3 times a year, at least. I think a lot of that also depends on getting in the hit in the head's not so bad. When a 40-pounder lands in the family jewels at 30 mile an hour is when reality is bad. I would have to agree with that. Not had it happen to me, but I'll take your word for it, Cliff.
Do y'all have Canadian geese as bad as we have them?
I love Canadian geese. Yeah, we get several of them, but I noticed in some of yours and a lot of Dieter's videos that I hear them in the background. In fact, I've mentioned it on Dieter's live stuff. A lot of times I hear those geese. I dearly love them. Cindy won't let me take my duck and goose calls anymore on the boat because I get to call them the geese instead of catching fish. But I think that's an amazing animal. Canadian geese are one of my favorite things in the whole wide world. I like to watch them swim around and watch them land and take off. And I used to love to hunt them, but I don't do that anymore.
Well, see, they're the big head carp for us. I mean, they're like everywhere. They poop on everything. I mean, they're protected. I mean, it's a nasty creature. And it's funny you talk about getting hit by one. A buddy of mine running down the lake in a Sea Ark. His friend was sitting on the front of the console. And they're running 30 mile an hour down the lake at night. And all of a sudden, all he heard is his buddy said he seen a flash and heard something go thump. And then the boat started doing donuts. And one of those Canadian geese had flew up and literally took him clean out of the seat and laid him in the back of the boat. But he said, yeah, you get hit under the chin by a full grown Canadian goose. It'll lift your feet up.
Probably take your feet right off the bottom of the boat.
Someone said,
oh yeah, he said it took him over the seat. He said he landed flat in the back. It was and what's bad, the goose flew away. So it didn't hurt it a bit.
Oh man, Doc, are you still loaded up in chat?
Yes, sir.
no.
Tony Caton has sent us another message and says, Lyle, please go ahead and do another $50 gift certificate card. Let the winner email. Okay.
And the winner is, oh boy, Big B Camo.
Big B.
BIGBCAM MO, Big B Camo.
All right, Big B Camo. If you will email Big Cat Fever Rods and tell Caleb and Tony that you want a $50 gift certificate in the chat on Catfish Weekly, they will hook you up and you can spend it right there on some quality equipment that they have. I think they got some apparel and stuff too, don't they, Jeff? Or
They got hats, they got shirts, T-shirts. I mean, they got it all. They got it all.
you will enjoy your products from them. And Tony and Caleb, thank you guys so much for helping us out. We appreciate it so very much. We appreciate everything you do for us. And what was the guy's name? The one? Big B Camel. Thanks so much for watching the show and being in chat tonight.
But you can't beat the Big Cat Fever guys. I mean, I can honestly say I've talked to Caleb several times. Honest, nice guy. Very nice guy.
They are great guys. And I'll tell you something else. We only see them guys a couple of times a year at different events, and they are the nicest, most personable people you ever deal with. They always walk up to you and shake your hand and visit with you like your old time friends. And after all these years, we kind of become that way. But they're really, really good guys, and they do a lot of stuff for a lot of people, and we all appreciate that. It's really cool.
Sit and watch their rod boxes go. I mean,
at the conference, they move as much product or more than most. With Doc and I've sat there and watched them run them babies in and out and slime line by the cases. It's amazing. They move some stuff, but we thank you guys again. Thank you so much. We have a mutual friend, Jeff. I know we're running on a little over an hour here, but Shad Shack bait tanks.
Yes, sir. Mr. Hose.
Chris is a heck of a guy. I really think a lot of him. Cindy and I had the pleasure of having dinner with him at Winter Blues on Wheeler last year. And man, does he make some great products.
They're beautiful tanks. I went up there and watched him building them. It's only been a couple months ago, and it was amazing. I mean, there's a lot of work goes into them, a lot of it ain't just throw it together. You know what I mean? There's a lot of work and a lot of thought that goes into them, and he custom designs them, and that's what's amazing. I mean, he's got all the equipment. He can cut it and build it to anything you want. So I mean, he does. He makes a great product, and he's always improving the product. He ain't just setting on, yeah, this is working. He's all the time got a demo or got something else he's trying to build. So he does do some good work, though.
He does, and I know you're a good friend. One of the things I really like about Chris's tanks is the filtration system, and there's a lot of good tanks out with a lot of good filter systems, but I really like Chris's with the different things you can pull out and clean the media deals with. And I've been checking in and kind of watching on some of his stuff where he has the new sock type thing. I'm not sure how I would like that, but I know the other deal where you just pull them out and rinse them out and put them back in. I know I'd love that. And what they got 6 in each side of that.
Yeah, now he's got a screen that he's made just for a scale screen. So it almost looks like just a screen mesh, like a screen door mesh, but it's where you drop it in there like the old filter media. You drop it in there, and they're a whole lot easier to just snatch out, swish them in the water, drop them right back in. And yeah, he's got some nice products coming out with right now.
I really like it. I know you guys do some stuff together, and you all live kind of close too.
Yes, sir. If you could probably me, him, and Dieter, we're probably all in a 5-mile circle.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Well, you guys get together and have hot dog sandwiches.
Hey, we are too. We are too. I'm all the time having to fix something at Dieter's house. Now he's sort of he's my cash cow. About once a year, he'll say, "Okay, here's my new project we want to do," and he says, "All right, put me on the schedule." And I'll say, "It's going to be 6 months or so." He goes, "Yeah, that'd be good. 6 months of work."
Oh man, I know the last time I seen one of Dieter's shows, sometimes he gets out early and I don't get up quite as early. Sometimes he does, but the last one that I seen, he was talking about having to do some work. He kind of grumbled around about that, but we all have to do that. That's what pays the bill. So hopefully
he's got it rough. He's got it real rough.
He does. Watching all them ball games, that'd be kind of hard to handle. Well, Jeff, thank you so much for spending your Monday evening with us. We appreciate it more than you know. A lot of quality information shared, and it's been a great pleasure to have you on the show with us tonight.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it.
Well,
Channel again.
why don't you tell everybody what your YouTube channel is, and if they need to get a hold of you, they can contact you on Facebook or wherever.
Yeah, I'm on Facebook. Same thing, Reelin' the Blues or Jeff Manning. And my YouTube channel is Team Reelin' the Blues, REELIN the Blues. Send me a message. If there's something you want me to build, send it to me. I kind of got I've had a bunch of people send me stuff. Hey, I want you to try to build this. I look forward to those things because it does give me something to do.
Heck yeah, I understand completely. Well, listen, thanks so much, and I will be talking to you soon, and we really appreciate you joining us on the show tonight.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks a lot, Jeff.
Y'all have a good night.
All righty. Doc, what a fun time. Jeff makes some really cool products and things. And for you guys that haven't checked out his YouTube channel, be sure to go over there and check it out, Team Reel and the Blues. You'll be impressed with some of the stuff Jeff makes. I'm telling you, it's pretty cool. And while you're at it, go ahead and watch some of them catfishing videos. You'll like them too. How about a tip of the week tonight, Doc?
Doc's tip of the week is just this one little thing, and it's called the boat plug. And this weekend, we had a little incident happen with one of these with Bink and I. He put it in, and I mean, it was in there solid. And we're traveling down the river, and all of a sudden, a log snuck in underneath the boat, and I mean, it stopped us both dead in the water. And he's got a center console. I had a hold of the bar that goes around the center console, and I mean, I ended up on kind of on top of the cooler, but still had my hand on the rail. And then we fished the log out. It wasn't that big, but I mean, it stopped the boat dead. We put the boat on the trailer, and when we got Bink come walking up, and he goes, "Hey, look at this." And that log had gotten up, and it had grabbed that part of it. It had bent that up, and that plug was about halfway out of the boat. So when you put these in, put them in as solid as you can, and try to get this, if you're using this style, try to get that T so it's parallel with the bottom of your boat and not like that. You know, I don't know how Bink had it. More than likely it was probably like that, the way it was bent up. But that's Doc's tip for the night.
Wow, that's a great tip. And man, you guys are kind of lucky it didn't go ahead and pull them on it. I've never seen one of those pulled out, but I can see where a log could do that. Yeah,
I mean, we didn't know it until we put the boat on the trailer, and he come walking up and he goes, "Hey, look at this." And I mean, that thing was bent. It looked like somebody grabbed it with a wrench and turned it. That's how hard it got hit.
Well, after leaving them out of the boat a time or two, I have two in the boat.
I've got 8.
I have 2 in the boat. I have 1 in the door,
No,
the
there's 2.
side compartment. Is there
There's
2
2,
in the
yeah.
door of the truck? So that's 4. And on the dash of the boat, the other style is a lever style.
Yeah, I don't care for that kind.
Well, if you remember, they used to make those. They was made pretty well. Couldn't hardly bend them or anything. They just for something about them. But all of those things are adjustable through the bottom of that, where you can tighten them up or loosen them up, so you can either pull the lever down with a lot of force or not so much.
Snap it in place, yeah.
Or tighten it up with the screw in, which the tighter it fits in the hole, the more good it does. Well, the newer ones with the lever on them, they're not made so well, and this one bent. And I've been afraid that it would either bend or break off on me, so I kept it on the dash of the truck for a spare, just in case I would forget to put one in and have to bail out right quick and shove something up in that hole. That's the only reason it's still in there. But be sure to adjust that thing, if you have the lever type, to where they are just tight enough, but don't overdo it, because you'll bend them and then they're junk. They really are. But once they bent, that metal just keeps going back and forth. Next thing you know, you'll have it up in there and you have a hard time getting it out.
Yeah, and Bink and I both had our life jackets on, which we wear a life jacket. Everybody knows I wear a life jacket all the time. Mm-hmm. But Bink had his life jacket on, and he had the dead man switch, the kill switch. He had it hooked to his life vest. also. So I mean, if it would have tossed, I mean, he had the steering wheel to hold on to, where me, I just had the rail. But I mean, if it would have tossed him, at least it would have killed the motor.
Absolutely. That's some quality information from a
And
real.
we never even saw it.
Wow. And that's another thing, Doc. A lot of these floaters that we hit, sometimes you never see them. They're underneath the water and you don't even know they're around. So just because you don't see a log or a big limb or something doesn't mean it's not there. Just means you can't see it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And those things, they sneak up on you.
They do. They really do. Next week, we're going to be talking Fishing for Freedom Quincy. We'll have the group from Fishing for Freedom on the show with us. Should be a lot of fun. We'll give away some stuff. We'll have a good time with those guys. That tournament's coming up the first weekend in June, so we want to make sure that everybody is available to watch that show. If you have not registered, they need boaters. They need boaters every year. So please go to Fishing for Freedom Quincy's Facebook page or their website and register to become a boater to take out one of our heroes for a 4-hour tournament. It'll be the most rewarding thing that you've ever done in the boat. I promise. It's a great time, and they take care of you in Quincy better than any place you've ever been, and it is a lot of fun. Hopefully.
Doc will be coming live, hopefully, from Lake Wheeler next Monday night.
Oh, man, looking forward to that. That'll be a ton of fun, too. Cliff, we'll have to see what the water does. We don't know. It's hard to say now with the flooding like it is. We'll just have to play it by ear and see what's happening. But it's just you just don't know. You never know about the big rivers and all the rain we're having, plus all the snow melt from up north. So it's hard to say what the water's going to be like. But as it gets closer, we'll know more about it. And if nothing else, we can always go to Mark Twain and put people on fish over there. A lot of water's coming. You're correct. That is correct.
One other thing.
All right.
This Friday is my retirement party at my shop. So I am looking forward to it. I will be joining the ranks of the retirement, and look out, I am going to do a lot of fishing.
Congratulations on that. And by the way, Doc, happy birthday Friday. Yes. Friday was your birthday, I believe. And
Saturday.
What, Saturday?
Yeah.
Saturday. Well, I was off by one day. That's pretty close for me. But congratulations on your retirement and happy birthday. It'll be awesome that not that you don't get to fish right now like you want to, but as you get healed up from your surgery, you're really going to be hard to get a hold of.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody will just have to call me on the phone or just get a way to get a hold of me. Lyle's got my number.
And if you're catching fish, just leave a message.
Yeah. My bait guy, he's got one of the funniest messages that I have ever heard. And it just, he just says, "Hi, this is John." He said, "Leave me a message." He said, "Hopefully either I'm fishing or I'm dead. Hopefully I'm fishing." I get tickled every time I hear that message when I call him, and yeah, I hope you're not dead.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, you're getting the congratulations in there now, Doc. Man, that's awesome. I'm getting to retire. You worked 1 year over your age limit, didn't you?
Yeah, I just turned 66, so I'm going to start another chapter in my life. Unfortunately, I've been doing too many chapter startups here in the last year or so. So it's hopefully this will be the last one.
Yep. Maybe this one will put you on that 100-pound fish you're looking for.
Yeah, I'm going to be fishing hard next week. I know that.
Yeah, and you're going to be with some guys that know where they're at.
Yeah.
So it'd be a great time with Josh and Trevor. You'll enjoy that a great deal. All right.
Yeah. Looking forward to that. That's flathead.
Yeah.
That's my kind of fish.
Oh, man. Greg said he forgot your birthday, Papa.
Yeah, I know. That's okay, buddy.
Yep, it all works out. Listen.
When you get my age, you don't want to remember.
I just didn't skip a
Just
couple.
another day.
I just skip a couple. Don't forget to tune in next Monday night, Fishing for Freedom Quincy. For Doc Lang and Cindy Stokes, I'm Lyle. Thank you so much for watching Catfish Weekly. We'll see you Monday night at 7 Central.